Hey guys, a couple of our patrons have been asking what's been going on next door to the old Japanese farmhouse at the new houses next door. So this is a bit of an update for you. So they came back, put a little bit of concrete on that little concrete block there to try and stop these, 300 tons of gravel and sand from washing down every time it rains. So surprisingly, that hasn't worked either. So they're making very little effort to fix that problem, which doesn't bother us at all. But what happens is that sand and gravel obviously washes right over the top of that little block when it rains, goes across the street and washes down into this old guy's place. So the fact that they've been coming back and doing little half-hearted efforts means somebody's been complaining, probably the old man or one of his relatives has been complaining, but they're making very little effort to fix it. So anyway, they finally sold number 4. So that's number 4. That's the one furthest from us on the corner. They finally sold that one. We saw people bringing bits and pieces here. So that one's finally sold. Number 3 is people are living in there, a couple of kids. Number 2, as predicted, there's a barky dog in there. Quite a big barky dog considering how small the house is. And a screaming baby at number 1. So pretty much as predicted. Then these guys turned up and started digging up the bitumen at number 4. So we guessed what it was from the fact that they were digging up the bitumen and they had pipes and things up there. See, the guy's got a vacuum cleaner. So as one guy's digging a hole, he's there with his vacuum cleaner, vacuuming the little bits of dirt and rock and bitumen and things he's digging up. And then they started, see, he's got his vacuum cleaner again too, look. They got to give it to them. They do some pretty weird things on their building sites, but they're pretty tidy as far as vacuuming and cleaning up after themselves usually. But look at the size of this thing. Obviously, because the front of the house there is so high, they couldn't have the top of this thing halfway up a window or something. They had to take it up to the top of the bottom of the first floor. So look how high it is. And it's hanging out over the street too, which was sort of interesting. And then they used the street as a workstation. So they had their tools out on the street and their materials. And when cars came, they had to move all their stuff. And cars don't come that often in this street, but probably once every 20 minutes or 15 minutes or something. Somebody would come down the street and they'd, chotto mate, and they'd go and move all their stuff. The car would squeeze past. Pretty funny. And the ladder's out on the street. So they're into it. So yeah, the ladders on the street was pretty funny. At one stage, there was a guy standing on the top of that ladder. I was like, geez, you better hope no one hits it. But see how far out over the street the roof is? Right out over the boundary, out over the middle of the street. Because their truck's actually on the street. It's not in their property, of course. So I was like, are they going to leave it like that? Can you leave it like that? No, they didn't. They cut it off in line with, or sort of roughly in line with the boundary of the house. But have a look at it. What a thing. It's sort of like half the size of the house. Quite a thing, isn't it? Reminds some of us of aircraft hangars. So not aesthetically pleasing, is it? But practical. It will keep the sun and the rain off their cars, probably. It makes it pretty hard to get around that corner. You'll be really slow going around that corner now because it's cut the visibility. So the answer to the question is, that's what's been happening next door to the old Japanese farmhouse. More videos coming soon.